Welcome to the Art of Selling Travel podcast. My name is Glenda, and I am going to be your host and travel industry expert, guiding you through everything you need to know about selling travel. On today's episode, we are going to be talking all things price versus value. Now, if you're listening to this on the day it's released, you'll know that it is Valentine's Day, the day when it doesn't matter how much flowers cost, they're going to get bought. So, why is it in travel we are so focused on trying to be that cheapest, trying to be the absolute best price for our clients rather than the best value? You know, price is a hard, fast sort of number. When our clients don't understand the value that we bring to the table, they only have price in which to go on. When a consumer is confused, they will always default back to the price because that's all it is that they can reference. That's all it is that actually makes some degree of connection with them. So instead of talking about price, we need to be talking about what it is our clients are actually wanting, what it is that our clients are expecting, and what it is our clients are willing to compromise. In preparation for this episode, I was chatting with my son who's in his 20s, and I said, when we talk about price and value and all that, all the rules are off when it comes to Valentine's Day. I don't think men pay attention to how much, and I am generalizing, there's others out there who buy for their significant other and other such. But the stereotype is that men are going to buy the flowers and take them home. And I said, and I don't think that they necessarily pay attention to how much that costs. And so my son laughed. He's like, Mom, trust me, we pay attention. We just know the cost of not bringing them home. And I'm like, that is a perfect way to position it. Because again, it goes back to that whole concept of people are less driven by pleasure than they are by trying to avoid pain. And if you go home on Valentine's Day and you've done nothing for your significant other, especially if you haven't talked about how important or not important Valentine's Day is, that can lead to a lot of issues. Even for myself, my husband and I, we don't really celebrate Valentine's Day. We don't really see any point in going out and paying like 5 times as much at a restaurant, or heavens, to get flowers on Valentine's Day is ridiculous. I've actually said to my husband, instead of getting me flowers on Valentine's Day, why don't you get me flowers like 5 other times out of the year? It'll cost you the same amount. It's about the intention that's behind it. So I digress. We've kind of chased a little squirrel here. But what I'm saying, though, is that when there is certain expectations in place, then value becomes different. It's changed from where it was to what it is. And the same thing can be true for your clients. We've all probably seen those commercials, get a 5-star hotel for a 3-star price. Well, that's because you're getting a 2-star room. There's always that room between the elevators and the janitor's room with the furnace HVAC system all in front of the window. Trust me, I've stayed there on an agent rate. It's not great. But the thing is that's how they can do it. So you want to make sure that your clients understand the difference between that 2-star room versus the 5-star room in the 5-star resort. Whether we're talking about the view that your client's going to get, or we're talking about a preferred club status or an elite status or things of that nature. We've all seen the hotels that are going to offer upgrades and whatnot. There's so much added value in doing things slightly different that your clients are willing to pay for if they understand it. Heck, for you, how many travel advisors do you know that said, I could never sell that. I've never been on a FAM. But somehow they magically think going on a FAM is going to make it all better. Well, here's a thought. Take that same sort of knowledge and talk to your clients about the upgrades, because your clients might have in their head that they're going to get the experience of the upgrade, but yet they're not getting that from the start sort of thing. I was chatting with an advisor not too long ago, and they were struggling with a hotel that their clients were at in destination. They booked the same room category for multiple couples, and one of them did not get a view that looked remotely like the rest of them. So they spent all this time struggling to get it all worked out and this, that, the other. They got the letter from the resort that says, congratulations, we've done everything we can. This is the best it is. And they can live with that knowledge of, oh, I did everything I could. Well, guess what? The client's going to be like, well, no kidding, you had to do that because I paid you the same as what they paid you. And this is what I got. So don't think I'm going to congratulate you for doing your job to fix what you broke in the first place. I get it. We're not the ones that made that decision to put them in that room. The resort did. And yes, you do everything you can. But being aware of what those room category differences are, being aware of what the possibilities are of what the client might get. I can't tell you over the years how many times, especially on those flop and drop beach vacations, client would ask for a garden view and then be upset that there wasn't flowers and this, that, the other. So I kind of instituted my own rankings, if you will. And that was oceanfront the ocean was directly in front of you. Now there may be trees and buildings and other such in front, but for the most part, it was right there. Did not guarantee you were going to get a direct shot, but there was a good chance. Ocean view, yeah, she was there in a roundabout there. A partial ocean view, well, that's where you needed a buddy. You could only stay in those rooms if there was two of you because you have to go into the bathroom. One of you would climb on the back of the toilet and lean out of the window that was in there while the other one held on to their feet. And so long as you saw a sliver of blue, that, my friend, was a partial ocean view. Then you had resort view. That one was typically, you were probably going to look into somebody else's room. Garden view meant that there was a palm tree in front of the dumpster. And run of house, well, that just meant good luck. You have a bed to sleep in. You know, when you kind of break it down for your clients so that they can see all those different sorts of views, then it kind of realigns their expectations. But if you have clients that are booking a partial ocean view, for example, and they get anything more than that little sliver of blue from outside of hanging off the window at the bathroom, that's a bonus. But to them, they think a partial ocean view means that they're going to see ocean. They're just not going to see the entire ocean. We need to make sure that they understand what they're going to get, because value and price are completely without context until we know what their expectations are. Because if you have a client who is expecting you to hang the moon and you only know how to hang stars, that's not going to make them happy. For years, I worked with clients and I never, now if you're inside of my Travel Sales Academy, you know this, I never, ever, ever ask for a budget until the very last question, because then that's going to lead into other questions. But it is so crystal clear important to me to understand what the client is expecting to get without any judgment from me. I need to know what they are expecting for their experience, what their vision is, what their dream is, everything else, without judgment. Because when you put judgment in the middle of it, you're not going to be able to properly convey value versus price. Now, there's definitely language clients are going to use right out of the gate. Can you get me a deal? And I'll always say, great. You know what? I absolutely can. Do you want to define for me what a deal means to you? Oh, well, something super cheap. Okay, so quality, like we don't need quality. We don't need good food, anything like that. Well, of course. I said, well, here's the deal. I don't deal on deals and discounts so much as I deal with getting you the best value for your price point, for what you're looking for. So why don't we start over at the beginning and go through what it is that you're looking for, and then we'll figure out whether or not we can line it up. Why do I do it that way? Why do I do the price point at the very end? Why do I do the budget last? Because so many people have absolutely no idea what their price point should be. They have absolutely no idea how much money this is going to cost. When I'm hiring contractors to come work on my house, come work on my home, I have no idea what this is going to cost. So if the first words out of their mouth is, "What's your budget?" I don't know. Actually, I'm going to give you one of three answers. I don't know. It costs what it costs. Or I'm going to give them a number that I have pulled literally out of my butt, because this is not the world I work in. This is not the world of which I am familiar with. You can have clients that give you a budget, but with what context? Is that because they base it on a price that they were told their friends paid in 2014 and we're now in 2023? How relevant is that budget? It's not. Heck, what people paid in 2018 versus what they're paying in 2023 is not the same thing. Price point requires context. That context is value. Without the context of the value, price is absolutely irrelevant. Yes, I get it. There are some people who have an absolute max budget, but sometimes those people aren't yet ready to travel, because when I know what kind of experience it is that they're looking to have, my suggestion to them becomes, you know what? Let's maybe push this off a little bit. Let's push it off 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is. Get them a little bit bigger of a budget to work with so that they can have the experience that they want. Years ago, when I was new in the industry, there was a new tour operator in my home area that was offering brand new packages down to Mexico. Like insane. Direct flights with 7 nights, all-inclusive accommodations for myself, my husband, and my 2 children, $1,800 total. Yes, it was quite a while ago because I've been around for a long time, but it was $1,800. I think it was like $1,854. Here's the scoop. We went on that vacation and I cried every single day of it. I literally cried myself to sleep at night because I was miserable. I was beyond miserable because I looked at my husband one day and I said, "Honey, if I could afford to fly us out of here, I would, but I can't." And in that experience, I learned more than I will learn on any fam out there, because of the fact that I now so crystal clear understood what it meant to put off taking a vacation versus just going for price. When our audience is confused, they don't know any other parameter other than price in which to talk about. So it is their automatic default. So next time you're working with a client, do not focus on price. Focus on experience, focus on duration, focus on destination, focus on all of those sorts of things. Then at the end, ask for the price point. And if it does not match up, ask what they're willing to compromise. Stop starting with the budget. Till next time, happy selling.